Oh, hi, boys and girls. I didn't hear you there. You were so quiet and well behaved. Today, we're going to be reviewing the different types of sentences that we've been learning about all throughout the week during social studies. So let's get started. First of all, we learned about a kind of sentence called statement. Statements are sentences that simply tell something. Statements always end in a period. Questions. We also learned about questions. Questions are sentences that ask something. Questions always end in a question mark. We also learned about exclamations. Exclamations are sentences that show strong feeling. They might be feelings of excitement or feelings of deep sadness. Exclamations always end in exclamation marks. You might even see an exclamation written if someone's showing like extreme anger, maybe. Commands. We've also learned about commands. Commands are sentences that tell someone to do something. Commands end in periods. The word you is understood at the beginning of a command. So let's practice identifying different kinds of sentences. So I'm going to show you a sentence. I want you to pay attention to the end punctuation mark, and I want you to pay attention to what the sentence is doing. Is it telling me something? If so, it's a statement. Is it asking me something? If so, it's a question. Is it showing strong feeling? If so, it's an exclamation. Or is someone telling you to do something? If that is the case, then it's a command. Let's get started. Wow, I can't believe the size of that roller coaster hill. Notice how this sentence ends with an exclamation mark. And if you look very carefully, there's a word that kind of gives a clue. The word wow shows strong feeling, so this would be an example of an exclamation. Our next sentence says, take out the trash after you finish dinner. So this sounds like something that your parents might tell you to do. Notice it ends in a period. Again, your parents might tell you to do this. There's a hint. So what kind of sentence would this be? Hopefully you're saying command. This is an example of a command. Next sentence. Last Saturday, we took our kayaks out on the lake. What is this sentence doing? It ends in a period. Is it telling you something? Is it asking you something? Is it showing strong feeling? Or is it telling you to do something? This sentence is simply telling you something. It's giving you information. Last Saturday, we took our kayaks out on the lake. This is an example of a statement. The concert was so amazing. This ends in an exclamation mark. Do you see any clue words? The word amazing kind of pops out to me. That shows strong feeling. So this would be an example of what? If you're thinking exclamation, you are correct. Here's my next sentence. Have you ever been to the Outer Banks in North Carolina? So there's a few things I noticed. It ends in a question mark. It starts with the word have, and I know that a lot of these kinds of sentences might start with words like have or what or why or how. Think about what kind of sentences start with those kinds of words. This is an example of a question. It's asking you something. Our next sentence says, do a close read of the text before you start answering questions. I bet you've heard that before. This sounds like something that your teacher might have told you. So think about this. It ends in a period. Your teacher is telling you to do this, so they're giving you a command. This is an example of a command. Next, I stayed the night at my grandparents' house last night. It ends in a period. So we've learned that statements end in periods and commands end in periods. Statements tell something, commands tell you to do something. Is this telling you something, or is this telling you to do something? It's simply telling you something. So this would be an example of a statement. Here's our next sentence. Why do you enjoy math so much? So it ends in a question mark. It starts with one of those clue words that we were talking about earlier. Who, what, why, when, where, how, have. This is an example of a question. So that concludes our review of the different sentences that you've learned about throughout the week. So I want to go over these few bullet points with you before you get started on your independent work. So at the beginning of this week, you did a show what you know to see what you already knew about these different kinds of sentences. Now you will complete another show what you know to show how much you have learned. This is a Google form called 10/16 Show What You Know. You can find it on the Student Learning Template or your teacher's Clever page, depending on who your teacher is. Go ahead and get started. Good luck.